Good morning, greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 32 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, if you have questions about the longevity products or longevity business or health challenge you or a loved one may be dealing with, we are your go-to resource for all things health and nutrition. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side, 844-236-6010. If you have a success story you would like to share, we love hearing those. And if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised or recommended on the program, Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Healthy Start Pack, Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, Fuchs Z, Ultimate Enzymes, all our longevity products are available online at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $25 fee. You can be in business for yourself, earn thank you checks, by helping change the world at the most important and most fundamental level there is, the level of good health. You can literally help change the world by just not even selling products, just telling people what's available. Still, most people, the vast majority of people in this country and around the world, still aren't hip to the power of nutritional supplementation, are still buying into the modern medical model's viewpoint that nutritional supplements aren't necessary, that you can be medicated back to health. The nonsense that we dismantle every day on The Bright Side is still the consensus belief of most people. It's consensus belief of in our culture. If we're sick, we go to the doctor. Don't even think about it. You get a skin rash, we go to the doctor. How many people do you think get a skin rash and backtrack to the digestive system or essential fatty acids or fat metabolism or all the things we talk about that are associated with skin problems? How many people around the world think, oh my gosh, I must be deficient in essential fatty acids when they have psoriasis or eczema? Probably a lot of you guys do. Not even all of you guys. Certainly around the world, most people don't think that way. Most people are still bought into the paradigm, the medical model, while it's obvious to anybody who looks just even at the surface, that there's nothing the medical model can do when it comes to dealing with skin issues, when it comes to dealing with chronic long-term degenerative disease issues. This is the realm of what we talk about. All of the therapy or healing or reversal of all of these conditions is in the realm of what we talk about here every day on The Bright Side and what longevity is all about. If this interests you, if you want to start a business built around this philosophy, please join the Brightside Ben team. At least check it out. Call 866-735-2470 for more info, 866-735-2470, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, so we have been talking about the very underappreciated liver secretion, gallbladder substance called bile, which in my opinion, next to the blood, is the most important biological fluid. The ancient Greeks knew about bile. They considered bile to be one of the fundamental life substances. They called it a humor, H-U-M-O-U-R. Humor was the Greek term for the body's basic metabolic elements. The Greeks believed that there were 4 humors, and how a personality showed up or how a body showed up was based on a combination of these 4 humors: blood, mucus, and 2 types of bile: yellow bile and black bile. Those were the 4 humors, and according to Greek medicine, we're all born with our own specific style, our own specific way of being in the world, our own specific way of seeing and responding to our reality, our own specific bodily constitution and mental and emotional constitutions. And all of these were based on a blend of the 4 humors. It was like one of those frequency devices where you can turn or pull the knob up a certain way to get a certain frequency, and you can have like 4 or 5 or 10 or 16 of these different knobs, and based on how much each knob was turned or how high each knob went, you got a specific sound. And the Greeks believed the body was like that, except they didn't have sound and frequency. They had humors, and a certain amount of yellow humor, of yellow bile, a certain amount of black bile, a certain amount of blood, and a certain amount of mucus gave you your own specific bodily and psychological makeup. They believed that if you were balanced in these 4 humors, if your 4 humors were balanced, then you were healthy. Physical sickness and emotional sickness and mental disorders, they were all said to be caused by an imbalance in your humors, in your 4 humors. They call this dyscrasia. Crasis means to mix or mixture, and dys means messed up. So a dyscrasia is a messed up mixture. Today we have blood dyscrasias. Medical model has taken a lot of Greek terms and incorporated them into its own jargon. And a dyscrasia in medicine is a pathology, like a blood dyscrasia or plasma cell dyscrasia. We get the word crazy from dyscrasia. So Greek physicians thought that everybody had their own specific optimum space of these 4 humors, and they thought that these fluctuated as we got older. We had a different proportion of each one of these humors, and as the seasons changed, as the months went by, they even believed that there were different proportions of humors that we got every hour of the day. And they recognized that at every given point in time, you had an optimum way of being, which was a reflection of an optimum balance of these 4 humors. Each one of the 4 humors has its own specific quality, and by balancing them out perfectly, you could have a perfect life, theoretically. So phlegm was one of the humors, or mucus. Mucus or phlegm. Phlegm is a type of mucus. Phlegm or mucus was about sluggishness. If you've ever, next time you get a cold, or you feel like a cold coming on, just kind of see how you feel when that cold is coming on, and you'll notice that you feel sort of sluggish. You feel mucusy. You feel phlegmy. This can happen after you eat the wrong kind of food. You feel sluggish and cold, and this is the sign that the body is going into a defensive posture. Phlegm and mucus are one of the ways that the body protects itself. Phlegm is like a biological armor. It's a fluid armor. Phlegm or mucus is a type of membrane. It's a type of wall or a type of barrier. The job of mucus in the body is to protect tissue. It comes out of mucous membranes. It's that kind of an extension of the mucous membrane. The mucous membrane lines all of your very sensitive tissue. It's part of the immune system, and it's one of the ways the body responds to defense. So phlegm is considered to be a defensive element. In Greek science or Greek medicine, phlegm was associated with the winter time. Its qualities were cold and damp. In Greece, which is along the coast, is kind of like a small country that's got a lot of coastline. So the winter times were cold and damp. Phlegm was associated with cold. It was associated with damp. It was associated with water. It was associated with defense. All these are reflections of the Greek geology, or the Greek environment, the Greek physical environment. It was also old age. The Greek culture is a very old culture. Phlegm was associated with old age. When secreted appropriately, the phlegm humor was about calmness. It was about steadiness. It was about good judgment. Today we use the term phlegmatic if we are describing someone who is stable in the face of pressure, who is unemotional and calm and doesn't lose it when things are going awry. The second humor, blood. That's an interesting one, man. Well, they're all interesting, but blood was associated with all the good stuff. We'll talk about that when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back after this. the bright side. Thank you for being here. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive pages at benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that up, and brightsideben.com. You can also purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, criticalhealthnews.com, or pharmacistben.com. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off our websites, which have blog posts and news stories and videos on lots of good free health information. We've been doing this program now for 7+ years, and blogging and doing videos for just about as long. Lots of great information. If you just Google Pharmacist Ben, or Google The Bright Side, or Google any particular health subject you want along with my name, you'll get tons of stuff, page after page after page of stuff. And it's all free. I'm dedicated to you getting better if you're not healthy, and I'm dedicated to you staying healthy if you are. And you don't even really need to know how it happens. I love talking about how it happens. I love talking about how the body breaks down. But all that matters is that you just participate in a few basic lifestyle changes. Just eliminate problem foods. Just start practicing SDR breathing. Just allow it to happen. That's basically what we're talking about here, is allowing the body to do what it does best, heal itself. If we're not healing, we're blocking it. I was just listening to a tape today where they were talking about meditation. They were saying how underneath all the chaos that runs in our brain, there is just calmness. That's what meditating is really about. It's about going underneath the chaos and going to calmness. Who doesn't want that? That's what always cracks me up when people say, oh, I can't meditate. I don't know how to meditate. Who doesn't want to go into calmness from chaos? With all the craziness in our lives, meditation represents a way to go underneath to where we're healthy. That's how the body is. Underneath the noise, underneath the chaos, underneath the dis-ease is ease. We just have to provide some raw materials, stop mucking up the works, and allow it to happen. It's almost as though it's on automatic. And when you start to understand these concepts that we talk about here every day, you can allow your body to do what it does. Appreciate that your body does all of these incredible things. No matter how sick we are, even if we have stage 4 cancer and we're on our deathbed, our heart is still beating. Up until the moment we die, our heart is still beating. Blood is still circulating. And for most of us, we're not in those dire straits. We're not we're not in critical condition. Even if we have eczema or psoriasis or an autoimmune disease, there's a million different things. There's millions and millions and millions of different things that are working perfectly. All we've got to do is expand that circle of perfection, or allow the body to expand that circle of perfection by putting raw materials in, nutritional supplements, quality food, as well as quality thoughts and quality emotions, and keeping the bad stuff out. And it is as simple as that. Longevity is a business that's dedicated to spreading that word, and I am a pharmacist who's dedicated to spreading that word, and this is a program that's dedicated to spreading that word. The good news, the gospel of health, the gospel of nutrition. Anyway, we're talking bile, we're talking the 4 humors. The 2 biles are elements of the 4 humors. The 4 humors are the phlegm humor, the blood humor, and then the 2 biles. The phlegm humor is associated with sluggishness or calmness. They all have a good side and a bad side. The sluggishness or the slowness is akin to what happens before you get sick. And you should be sensitive to that right before you get sick. If you catch yourself right before you're going into a cold, if you catch that phlegmy, mucousy sluggishness sensation starting to build up, move your body, move your lymph. That sluggishness is largely a factor of stuff leaking out of the lymph. Move your lymphatic system. When you feel you're getting a cold, move your lymphatic system and fluidize your lymphatic system. What you're doing is fluidizing your mucus and allowing your mucus to circulate before it can accumulate and become too stagnant. Once it accumulates, then you got to deal with the body breaking it down, and there's a time element there, and that'll take you a couple of days or even a week. But if you catch it in time by jumping on a rebounder, or by doing lymphatic drainage or lymphatic massage, or by drinking lots of water, or by taking a brisk walk, or by exercising. You may not feel like exercising at that point. That's the best thing you can do. When you feel like a cold's coming on, if you exercise, it's the best thing you can do. Deep breathing, SDR breathing, slow, deep, rhythmic breathing, all these are ways of moving the mucus, moving the phlegm. Of course, keeping stuff out of the body that stimulates the phlegm, dairy, grains, problem foods, those are all important too. So the second humor is the blood, Blood is about springtime. The phlegm is about wintertime. Things are slow and sluggish. The blood is about the springtime. Blood is about a hopefulness. Blood is about good balance. This is all according to the Greek theory of the four humors. The Greek word or the Latin word for blood is sanguine. And when somebody is sanguine, they have a personality that is poised, that is optimistic, and even in the face of what seems to be great danger, somebody who's sanguine can respond appropriately. Blood is the coolest of the best of the four humors. I don't want to say the best. They're all important. They all have their roles to play, but blood is about sweetness. If phlegm is about saltiness, blood is about sweetness. Blood is about childhood. It's about babies. If you've ever tasted mucus, you know it has a salty flavor. That's the electrolytes. That's the salt. I haven't tasted blood, but I don't know. Maybe it has a sweet flavor. Certainly there's sugar in it. So when somebody is sanguine, they're optimistic. The blood is about optimism. The last two humors are the bile humors. And the Greeks had two biles. There was yellow bile and there was black bile. The yellow bile is what gives you spark or energy. The yellow bile is associated with emotional volatility, with anger. It's bitter. And the bitterness is kind of like an excess of anger. Bile is about, or blood is about the summer, which is, blood is about the springtime. Bile, yellow bile, is about the summer. Summer's hot. Things grow fast. Blood is about childhood. Yellow bile is about teenagerhood. It's about youthfulness for obvious reasons. When you're youthful, you're not thinking as much as acting. You act rashly. You do things you regret later. You've got lots of energy. But if you're yellow for too much, or if you got too much yellow bile, it can burn, and your yellow bile can then become black bile. Black bile is the opposite of yellow bile. Black bile is about tempering expectations. Black is introspective. Black is contemplative. Black is thoughtful. Black bile is about being more introspective, thinking more before you act. Yellow bile is about acting more before you think. Yellow bile is spontaneousness. Black bile is sort of thoughtful, stands back a little bit. It's about maturity. Yellow bile is about youth. Black bile comes after yellow bile. Yellow bile is about maturity and adulthood. It's the fall. Yellow bile is the summer. Next comes the fall. Fall is a response to the summer. It's a response to all that heat and all that energy. You can have too much black bile, and then you go into depression and a sense of hopelessness, resignation. The Greek word for black is mela. The Greek word for bile is chole. We get our word melancholy. Typically, when people are said to be melancholy, they're depressed. But melancholy can also mean reflective. Melancholy can also mean pensive, thoughtful. So your four humors, according to the Greeks, result in how the body shows up. And the four humors are made, according to the Greeks, in the liver. And the liver, where bile is produced, today we know it's where bile is produced, is the home of all the metabolic activities. It's the major metabolic structure in the body. It's the major chemistry-inducing structure in the body. And the Greeks knew this. They considered it to be the most important structure in the body for good reason. The liver is where bile is made. And I've always said, and the Greeks say it as well, working on your liver should be the first place to focus on when you're healing illness or disease. And of course, the liver... We're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. We are talking about the four humors and bile and the liver. I've always said go back to the liver, meaning go back to the digestive system, because the liver is part of the digestive system. It's a major part of the digestive system. It's a major part of all the systems in the body because of all the work it does. It stores amino acids and B vitamins and essential fats and helps us process sugar and helps us, of course, detoxify. So many different things the liver does that are critical. But really, if you want to work on your liver, it's a question of working on your digestive system. That's the first thing to do. The best liver detox there is to fast, is to stop eating. And I've always said these liver detox formulas that have herbs in them are really just putting more work on the liver. There may be some benefits to herbal medicine. I understand this. I consider myself to be a pharmacognosist, which is a guy who studies the pharmaceutical applications of herbs. I recognize the health relevance of pharmacognosy. But still, you're giving your body work to do. It's medicine. So if you want to do an herbal detox, work on your digestive system. And the best way to work on your digestive system is to fast or do a swirl V cleanse and then eliminate problem foods. It's as simple as that. This whole thing about health, we got to rethink this, folks. It is not complicated. It is not complex. The body is a system. The only thing that it's a closed system. That is, it runs perfectly like a circle with no openings. It just runs endlessly perfectly, except for there are a couple of openings. You got to put some energy into the system. That's where food comes in. Food and nutrition represent openings in this otherwise closed system. So does oxygen. That's pretty much it. You can throw in the spiritual, mental, and emotional dimensions, which function as a type of food. But from a physical perspective, you're looking at oxygen, you're looking at food. I know it sounds simple, but it's not simplistic. I know it sounds basic and almost childlike, but it is. That's how the body works because it has billions, 3.5 roughly, they say, billion years of perfecting itself. That's a long time. We are the beneficiaries of that. Sir Isaac Newton, one of the greatest geniuses of all time, said, "I am great because I stand on the shoulders of giants," meaning that he got all his wisdom from reading other people's wisdom that came before him. Well, the body's the same way. The body that we have today is the end product of lots and lots and lots of tinkering and fine-tuning and figuring things out from a cellular perspective and a biological perspective, not a conscious perspective, and we're the beneficiaries of all that. We should be, if we did it correctly, we should be living a long time and in a very healthy fashion. Way more than 100 years if we did it correctly, because the body is built that way. It's built to repair itself, like one of those self-repairing tires you see. I've always been blown away by these self-repairing tires, how amazing that is. You put it, I don't even know how they work, really. I think some kind of fluid is released and it seals up the hole, something like that. A cell does the same thing. A cell seals up its holes. A cell kills itself if it's too dysfunctional. A cell breaks down old parts inside. How the heck does that happen? Somebody tell me, how does it happen that a cell knows to break down subcellular structures, and there's zillions of them in a cell? How does it know to break them down and then rebuild new ones? And it happens every second. But that's what happens. It does it on its own. Has anybody ever thought about how compelled their body to do that? No, it happens on its own. But it needs the raw materials to do its work. The good news is you give the body the raw materials, oxygen and good food and nutrition, and you keep the bad stuff out, boom, you are off to the races. It's as simple as that, no matter what your health challenge is. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number, 844-236-6010. Tomorrow we'll continue talking about bile as a digestive, as a detox substance. It's also a digestive substance. And then I want to get to this really cool way to support your bile system that everybody's doing these days. Not everybody, but a lot of people are doing these days, and that is drinking kombucha tea. We're going to be talking about that. We started talking about it a few days ago, and I have not forgotten about it because I really, really want to get to this. Kombucha tea is all the rage, and for good reason. It is a great way to support detoxification and your bile system, and we'll be talking about that in the coming days on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lots of lines open for you, and we'll read a couple stories, and then we'll get to your calls. 844-236-6010. From Medical College at Georgia Augusta University, it is the comparative silence between the firing of neurons, nerve cells, that tells the brain what really is going on. It's the silence. The brain is, and the neurology and the nervous system is constantly firing and not firing, on, off, on, off, on, off. And the rate of on and off determines how we see the world. If things are going on and off really, really fast in the brain, that is, if these nerves are firing really, really fast, we're stressed out. Also, this is where we problem solve the best. And this rapid rate of nerve firing is known as beta nerve firing or a beta state. As the brain slows down, as the neurology slows down, and there's greater silences, greater spaces of no firing, We become more thoughtful, more contemplative, calmer. After beta state, you got alpha state. Alpha state is a little bit slower firing than beta state. And the more you can go into alpha, the more relaxed you're going to be. Hypnosis is an alpha state. You can put yourself into alpha state, and that's a great way to activate your healing system, the parasympathetic nervous system. The rest and digest nervous system is activated when we're in alpha state. The sympathetic nervous system is activated when we're in beta state. And then you've got your theta state. Theta state is so slow and there's so much silence that you actually withdraw a little bit from physical reality. You go into what's called the hypnagogic state or the dream state. That's kind of, theta state is what happens when you just wake up in the morning or when you just start to fall asleep. And you may recognize the sensation right before you fall asleep, right before you go into deep sleep where you're unconscious, or right as you wake up where you're sort of, weird things are happening. You've got weird kinds of combinations of experiences and events. It's a very dream-like quality. That's called the theta state. It's associated with psychedelic drugs, and it really activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And if you can go into theta consciously, you can do some super-duper healing. And again, this is all accomplished by giving yourself more spaces of silence, more time of silence. That's what meditation is about, as I was saying earlier. Meditation is about going into the alpha and theta state. So lest anybody out there think it's about religion or about Buddhism or about some kind of Eastern woo-woo kind of thing. No. Meditation is about activating the alpha state and the theta state. It's about as scientific as you can get. And it's where healing takes place. And then you get your deep sleep state, and that's totally silent, and that's really super, super slow firing. That's the delta state, and that's a whole different animal. There's delta state is associated with, they'll probably find healing takes place in the delta state too, but that's associated with unconsciousness. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. When we come back, we will get to your phone calls. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network, and we will take a commercial break and be back right after this. Don't go away. Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we have lines open for you. I'm going to be doing a talk from 3 to 5 p.m. for longevity in Salt Lake City this Saturday, 3 to 5. There'll be a whole longevity, like a mini convention, I guess you could say, and there'll be a lot of cool speakers. That's Friday and Saturday. Dr. Wallach will be there Friday. If you're in the Salt Lake City area, that'll be at the Hotel RL, I think they call it, the Red Lion Inn, they used to call it. Now it's the Hotel RL. 161 West East 600 South, whatever that means. 161 West East 600 South. I got all the directions there. Sounds kind of weird. 161 West East 600 South, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84101. And I am not exactly sure who you would call to get more information. Maybe call the hotel. 801-521-7373, and they can give you some information. I will be on from 3 to 5 on Saturday, but there'll be a whole bunch of great speakers starting Friday, both Friday and Saturday, including Doc Wallach on Friday evening. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Here's our buddy, Truth Raider. Good morning, Truth Raider. What's up, bud?
Good morning. Oh, no. I must be the only one on the computer caller board this morning, Ben.
You are, man. How did you know that? You must be psychic. Because you know that's the only reason that's the only reason I pick you up first. It's just me and you, just like old times.
Yes. Yes, sir, indeed. They're wonderful times, too, as well.
There's probably a dozen or so people listening.
Well, yeah, I think you're probably waiting for a new first-time caller, so that way you can help them with their issues. But anyway,
yes,
I'm glad to hear that you.
But nobody has more issues than you that I know. I'm just kidding, Truth. I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
yes.
Yeah. No, it's all good, as they say. Anyway, I'm glad you survived the tornado, or something to do with
what
tornado that was. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Where'd you hear a tornado?
On weather.com.
On where? Where was there? No, I assure you there was no tornado. There's no tornado.
Tornado watch for the Metro Denver area.
Really?
It was early in the afternoon yesterday. There was some severe storms east, southeast.
It rained. Yeah, that's right. You know, a lot of times they say Denver, but they really mean, 100 miles away, because there's basically Denver's the city, and then there's 100 miles around it that don't have anything. Mostly to the east. So that's probably, and they're very likely that's tornado country. So I'm not surprised. But you didn't call it. You didn't call to give me the weather report. What's going on?
No, but I'll just check to see if you're okay, and you're doing fine this morning, so that's great. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about that difference between RNA and DNA.
Oh, my gosh. You really want to go there?
Certain factors, yeah.
You want to go there, DNA? It's actually quite cool. DNA is the blueprint, right? But the blueprint has to somehow get turned into things. Blueprint is like, if you have a blueprint for making a house, that doesn't get you a house. You got to have the nails, you got to have the wood, you got to have the bricks, you got to have the mortar, you got to have the wiring, you got to have all the stuff to build the house. But the blueprint is the plan. You need one of those, but that doesn't get you a house. DNA is the blueprint. Somehow, magically, this is the most incredible thing among incredible things. I mean, there's so many incredible things in a cell. What the RNA does is it turns that blueprint into bricks and mortar and wood and electrical and all the stuff you need to build a house or a body. Turns it into proteins. So DNA codes for proteins, which are the bricks and the nails, etc. And the RNA, somehow, this is the most incredible thing. I'm not even going to begin to tell you, because it is so unbelievably complex, how the RNA reads the blueprint, and based on the blueprint, it attracts building materials to turn. It doesn't just create nails. It pulls in the molecules of the nail to make the nail. It pulls in the wood fibers to make the wood. And it does that by reading the various codes on the DNA. It is the most magical, they call this the central dogma in genetics. It's the idea that DNA is the blueprint, RNA turns the blueprint into the building blocks for making a cell. And so both are fundamental and important. If your DNA gets tweaked a little bit by the sun, for example, or they think by viruses or by too much stress, that is cellular stress, there's lack of oxygen or too much sugar or too much toxins, the genetics can get changed. And then when the RNA reads it, it will read it in a dysfunctional way, and you'll end up with a dysfunctional cell, a cell that can't do its thing. And this is where many so-called genetic diseases come from. So it's an interaction between the DNA and RNA. Is that too much information, or is that what you wanted? I'm not sure.
No, that's a good analogy for you to break it down in that manner. I have some one of those things that are malfunctioning. I have a lump on the back of my right hand. It looks like a little volcano on my right hand, and it's not a pimple. I don't know. Is that a carbuncle or something?
Could be. I'd have to see it, but it could be. Is it deep? Is it coming in? Does it look like it's coming in from the depths of your skin, or is it like on the surface?
Possibly. It started off as being like a little brown growth or notch or something, and I just kind of...
Yeah, that's a sign that deposits you're starting to get deposits in the skin, and that always comes from the digestive system. And those deposits in the skin can trigger an immune response. They can trigger some kind of defense mechanism, the body protecting itself. Or they can be it can be in the process of being eliminated, whatever those toxins are. But this is how the digestive system is related to the skin. The digestive system, when it's broken down, we're eating the wrong foods, it's got leaky gut. Eventually, toxins will get into the blood. The blood will then dump off those toxins into various tissues of the body, including the skin. At that point, the skin becomes the enemy. The skin looks different. The skin becomes deformed. And when I say the skin, I mean cells of the skin become deformed. And the body will mount an attack against those deformed cells. That's a type of autoimmunity. It can cause things like psoriasis. It can cause things like eczema. It can cause various connective tissue issues like scleroderma and lupus. You're not there yet, but it's if you only have one. But it's but it's on the way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just telling you, now's where you want to get to it. How do you approach? Remember, we got two things going on here, Carl. We're talking two ways. We're talking, number one, the beauty and the complexity, the amazingness, the awesomeness of the human body, the divine nature, the spectacular nature of the body. And then we're also talking about the simplicity. It's two parallel ideas that seem like they're opposing, but they're really not. The complexity, man, that's fascinating. I could talk about it endlessly. But to get you better, it's the simplicity. And that's starting at the gut, balancing the blood sugar, keeping the bad stuff out, and putting the good stuff in. Hey, I want to get one more call, Carl, the Truth Raider. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for bringing that up and letting me ramble a little bit. Have a great day, man.
Oh, no, I enjoy it. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. God bless.
All right, let's go to Jessica. Good morning, Jessica. What's up?
Hi, I am wondering about the storage of the vitamin C in your products, because I know that ascorbic acid. Yeah,
how to store the product? You're talking about how to store the product or storage?
To maintain the viability of the vitamin C.
Great question. Great question. So are you a new listener, or are you turning on from you bought the Truth?
Oh, no, I've been listening to you for 6 or 7 years.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so have you used the Truth treatment products yet? My Truth treatments?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Which ones have you used?
I used the Truth, the serum, the original one that you had.
Good choice. So here's the deal. There's different forms of vitamin C. There's the water-soluble one, which is called ascorbic acid. There's many forms, actually, but the two main ones are going to be the water form. There's like maybe three main ones. Well, the water form, which is called ascorbic acid. There's another form called magnesium ascorbyl phosphate, which you may have heard. And those are water-soluble. They break down. They're very notoriously ineffective. And I don't recommend them at all. And if you really wanted to use ascorbic acid, which can give you a little exfoliation, go to the vitamin store, buy ascorbic acid powder, make your own fresh. Because if you're buying in a product, it's not fresh and it breaks down very quickly. On the other hand, the vitamin C that I use is extremely expensive. It's very premium. And in the True Serum, you're getting a whole bunch of it. It's fatty vitamin C. A fat-soluble vitamin C. And if you've been listening to this program, you know that I'm always distinguishing water-soluble from fat-soluble. What you want is fat-soluble vitamin C because it's very stable, it's moisturizing, it's skin-softening, and it penetrates to where you get good activity at the lower levels because it's fat-soluble. That's the only kind I use. And mostly I'll use something called, it's called tetrahexyldecylascorbate. We'll just call it THA. We'll call it THDA. I use that form. The other form I'll use is called ascorbyl palmitate, and that's in my omega-6 healing cream. Either way, you're getting fatty vitamin C, a primo vitamin C, a stable vitamin C, a moisturizing vitamin C, a vitamin C that works and works quickly, and not just works for anti-aging, but works for healing, which you can tell if you put any of my Truth treatments on cuts or scrapes. Not the retinol, maybe, but the vitamin C products. I hope did that answer your question, Jessica?
Yes, so I could just store it.
Yes, you can store it any way you want.
In the refrigerator?
No, you don't need to store it in the refrigerator. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it. And that's all the time we have for today. You can check out all our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Truthtreatments.com. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.